Hi, Ray Perez with Florida Realty of Miami. This is part 3 of the lease agreement. We didn't cover this one part here of the smoking or not smoking. If it is checked, then smoking is permitted. Normally, this goes unchecked. No smoking is permitted in the property. Now, maintenance. Who covers what? Most of the times, the landlord will cover for most of everything. But you need to specify exactly. Roofs, I'm just going to go what I think normally landlords do. They do the roofs, the foundation, heating, electrical system, garbage removal, outside receptacles is the tenant, extermination of rats, mice, extermination of wood destroying organisms is landlord. The lawn, normally in houses, the lawn is the tenant. Water treatment is the landlord. Ceiling is the landlord. Windows, landlord. Floors is the landlord. Plumbing and hot water is normally the landlord. The pool and spa, sometimes they tell you the tenant has to cover. Filters, the tenant usually does the AC filters. Some owners want to do the AC filters themselves because they have access to the property. Interior walls, the landlord does that. Screens, landlord. Porches, landlord. Structural components, landlord. Running water and cooling. Steps, exterior walls is the landlord. Locks and keys, tenant. Smoke detection devices, normally is the tenant. Tenant shall notify the owner, let's say it's Alex Barrios again, at this address, if there needs to be any repairs or any request. Unless this box is checked, you may not assign this lease. Remember, the owner's going by the information that you gave them as a tenant, so normally they will not allow you to assign. Well, the landlord shall furnish the tenant with what? How many numbers of keys? Normally it's 2. You will put that. If there's a mailbox key, normally 2. Garage door openers are normally 1. Initial and sign every page. Okay. If there's a homeowners association, the tenant will be provided with the following to access the association: common areas. Normally there's just 1 key to, let's say, the clubhouse. Must specify that. Okay. All this needs to be done before we exchange keys. If there's a remote, any electronic cards to get into the property. If the property was built before 1978, they're going to have to give you a lead warning statement. Checking complete if the dwelling was built before 78. If it's not, you do not check that. This is just like your lead-based addendum. The lessor would initial. The lessor is the person leasing the property. The lessee is you, the person, the tenant that is leasing the property. So your lessor signature, your agent's signature, this is typical, normal addendums that we do every day. Landlord and tenant would need to sign at the bottom. If there's an association, who's going to pay the approval process? The landlord or the tenant? Now, if the tenant is paying for it or the landlord is paying it, if he does not get approved by the association, then this lease will be terminated. You see that highlighted. Your tenant shall do due diligence in trying to get an approval, and either the landlord or the tenant shall pay the security deposit required by the association. Now, use of the premises. The tenant may hang pictures, install window treatments in the premises without the landlord's consent. If he checks here, then you need to let the landlord know what you're going to do with the premises as far as hanging pictures, painting the walls, before you do anything. Risk of loss and insurance. Obviously, the tenant should carry insurance. If there is any losses, that the landlord will not be responsible. Prohibited acts by the landlord. This sheet comes with a section which explains all these statutes. Obviously, there are things the landlord cannot do, like shut down your water, shut down your electricity for lack of payment. He needs to go to the proper procedures of eviction. Casualty or damage. If the property is damaged and it is not repaired, you have the right as a tenant to cancel this lease agreement. Paragraph 28 is your broker's commission. Checking complete if applicable. The broker company's name below will be paid the commission set forth by the landlord normally. Okay? The landlord will issue the checks at the end to each commissioner, be the real estate licensee on both sides. We will continue.